This is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital, Hydrogen Energy California, and Chevron. And now, here's your host, Cindy Pollard, President and CEO of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back. We're going to continue our month-long look at New Year's resolutions for your business. Every year, nearly half of all Americans are going to make a New Year's resolution, most of them having to do with changes or improvements that we want to make in our personal lives. But what about our businesses? As business owners and managers, we want our businesses to thrive. And with a little bit of planning, you can be on your way to doing just that. Last week, we took a look at financial planning, and today in the studio, we have Sara Mendez of Mendez Media Marketing to discuss the why and how of developing a marketing plan for your business. Sara holds an MBA in global business and is an expert in marketing, branding, and image management. She speaks throughout the country on marketing and has been a motivational business speaker for more than a dozen companies across the nation. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Often businesses, when businesses things get a little tight and, they're afraid that they're not going to make budget, one of the first things that they cut is the marketing or advertising budget. That's a big mistake, isn't it?
It really is. And if you look through history, especially starting with the big war and the Great Depression, companies who really thrived during that time and invested in their marketing, when the war was over, when things picked back up, they were on top. And that's what happens. That's exactly what happens.
Absolutely. So a strategic marketing approach can actually help businesses get through these tough times, hopefully not another war, but through some difficult times. What is a marketing plan?
A marketing plan is really more than just, a lot of times you ask somebody, what's your marketing plan? What's your strategy? And they start saying, well, we advertise here and we advertise there and we do this and we do that. And those are all great things. A plan really helps you put it all together.
Okay.
A lot of times with a company, we look at what we want as a consumer, what we like, what we think our customers want. And a marketing plan really goes beyond that. And you really have to know your customers just as much, if not more, than your own company.
So talk us through some of the key elements of a good marketing plan. It's not just advertising.
Right. It really develops your company more than just what do you do. You're really looking at what are we positioning our product on, our product or service. Okay. Are we selling on quality? Are we on price? What is our real focal point? And if you look at Disney, that's exactly what they do. Obviously, they want to sell tickets and all those things, but they're really selling a feeling, an emotion. And companies have to develop that for themselves. What is it that we're really trying to sell? And that's one of the most important things. Your competitive analysis. You got to know your competition. You got to know them well.
Right.
And your customer analysis. You really have to look at who are they? Where are they? Look at the psychographics, the behavioral targeting. Digital marketing is a huge element right now. It's really important. And right now people say, I really don't know how to do that, so I'm just going to throw some ads on Facebook or throw some ads out here. And there really needs to be a plan for that.
Absolutely.
And that's all in the marketing plan. It's really a development of not only who you're targeting, but how you're going to get there.
Now, I can imagine there are some viewers out there going, psychographics, I don't know. What is psychographics?
Psychographics is really a development of your customer, right? When you're buying media, it's always on age and gender. That's it. Well, there's a lot more, right?
Absolutely.
You're really looking at income level. If you're something that targets families, well, you need to make sure that they have children under the age of 18. And there are surveys and there are statistics out there that you can access that tell you all of these things. So if you say, I want somebody who's going to need my service in the next 12 months, there are actual services out there where you can develop this age, this gender, they live in this zip code. It can be very specific. And that's really important into making it an effective marketing plan.
So the more specific you can be, the better your marketing plan is on the back end and the greater your chances for success if you work your plan.
Right. It's very important.
So how does someone get started on creating a marketing plan?
Well, the first step is to really sit down and develop who are we? And that changes. And if you're a company that's been around for 40 years or if you're brand new, it's equally important to do this every year. Who are we? What do we stand for? And you have to adjust with the times. Your customer needs are changing. 10 years ago, companies came out and said, this is who we are, this is what we sell, and if you want our product, come buy it. Now companies are realizing consumers are getting very demanding. The consumer public is saying, this is what I want. I want a company that's conforming to me. And so that's what you really have to start with. Who are we? What do we stand for? And how are we going to reach these needs from our customer base?
And is that something that the business owner or manager sits down and does alone, or should they do this with a group of their, senior leaders or department heads?
Well, everyone has their own opinion on that. Mine is that you really have to have a buy-in from everybody. Everybody within a company really needs to be on board with who are we, what do we stand for, and they have to live that every day. When you meet new people, when you hand out your business card, you really have to have that enthusiasm and understanding with you.
Absolutely.
I think you really need to do it as a group. You need to do it as a team, and you really need to make sure it trickles all the way down to your frontline staff. Because that's what it's all about. A company's just a company. The people make it what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the marketing plan has a direct impact on your sales, your revenues, and your profits. Give us that nexus.
Yeah, a really good marketing plan not only lays out this is who we are, this is who we're targeting, and this is how we're going to get there, but it also has some tracking in there. And people always say, how do I know if my marketing's working? That's the big question. How do I know if it worked? I spent all this money, I saw my ads, but did it really accomplish anything? And the truth is all advertising works, right? Advertising is supposed to let people see it. So whether 2 people see it or 1,000 people see it, it has accomplished some form of what it was supposed to do.
But the question is how well has it worked?
Is it effective?
Right.
Is it efficient? And that's what your marketing plan really should outline.
Okay.
These are our goals. This is how we're going to track it. Now, that goes beyond just a phone number and how many calls did we get. It really looks at what did our sales do? When did this happen? How did that happen? What were the effects of that? And I always tell people, if your advertising is working really well, you really shouldn't have to ask, is my advertising, is my marketing doing
Your phone will be
something?
ringing, your website's going to
You'll
blow
see it.
up, your doors are going to be revolving faster
You
than
really will. You really will. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, which nobody likes in marketing, right?
Right.
I want results right
I want
now.
it now.
But you really have to know what you're doing. If it's direct response, that's a right now. If it's a branding, it takes some time.
Absolutely.
So again, that's another part of the marketing plan. What are our goals with marketing? Are we trying to get our name out there, or are we trying to increase calls, or are we trying to do both?
Talk to us specifically about what a marketing plan can do for a small business. I know oftentimes, small business owners and managers are just so focused on getting the job done each and every day that they don't always take the time out to do the planning necessary for their businesses to be successful. So explain the importance of why they need to force themselves to take that time.
It really can make the difference in your first 2 years. In a small business, the first 2 years are really going to outline if you make it or break it, and if you can grow and what you're really going to become. Your marketing plan does more than just your advertising layout. We've heard of the 4 Ps of marketing, right? Price, place, promotion, product. And what that really spells out is, where are we going to put this location? There's a reason that those are in the marketing plan portion. And it's because from a marketing standpoint, you really have to know your customer base. It goes back to that. So where you put it has everything to do with your customer. How you promote it has everything to do with your customer and their habits, not your company.
And if you don't know who your customer is, you're off mark.
Right. So you have to really start with that. And you have to look at what's already there, your competitors, and then you can start formulating, how are we going to sell this? How are we going to position? There's one of the P's. How are we positioning this? What are we going to price it at? Where are we putting it? And you really develop the first plans before you ever get a sign on the wall. And open a door, you really have to have that marketing plan in place so that at no point in time after your first year you go, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have put it here. Oh my gosh, I think we're overpriced. Because it's very hard once you get that out there to go back and say, oh wait, we're going to cut prices. Now you're affecting your value. Now you're affecting that perception. So it's so important to do it right off the get-go.
Absolutely. I remember when I was in business, I had my public relations firm. And one of the things that I used to always tell the clients, they would say, well, I don't like this, or I'm not so sure. And I'd say, well, wait a minute. Are you the audience we're trying to reach? And they would think about it and they'd say, no, but that's not my favorite show. I'm sorry. I don't care what your favorite show is.
Yes.
It's who your audience is and who you're trying to reach. And it's often at times I think it feels counterintuitive for them.
Yes,
so.
I hear that all the time. They say, I don't watch that smut TV, or I don't watch this. Well, that's great because you're not what we're looking for. So we don't want to pay for your viewer.
Exactly.
We want to be effective.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So what are some of the pitfalls that you see businesses making with their marketing plan? And, if you had to leave us with your 3 top pieces of marketing advice for businesses, what would that be?
Wow, sum it all down to 3. One of them, I think, I'm really big on organization. You got to be organized. You really have to set a plan in place. Whether that plan is this year, and we're in Kern County, so we're a little unique piece of California and U.S. We're still very community. It's so important to be involved. Let's say your goal this year is to have 10 new nonprofits or community supporters. Set yourself goals, whatever that may be, for your company and yourself as a leader within your company, and execute those. Another one would be really do your homework, do your research, know your competitors, know your customers. Sit down and think about who are they and what do they want, and are we really reaching that? How could we set ourselves apart? Because everybody can sell the same thing.
Right.
Everybody can do the same thing, and everybody can price compete. How do you set yourself apart, and what are you currently doing? And if you're not, what could you do? Right.
Last piece of advice?
The last piece of advice, I'd really say to start looking at how effective are we being. Look at your revenues year over year. Start putting a plan in place to compare and do an analysis so that you're not just throwing money at it every year. You're really trying to make sure that you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And there you have it. New Year's resolution for your business, establishing a marketing plan. And Sarah has just laid out how you can do it and why you want to do it. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Tiffany Rao with Hydrogen Energy California. I'm Cindy Pollard with the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. You're watching Strictly Business.